Do those with mild depression or anxiety need to be on benefits, or would help to get a job and to stay in that job be better for them, better for society, cheaper for us all than giving them cash? That's the question the Welfare Secretary is posing today at a time when the number receiving the main disability benefit, PIP, or personal independent payment, has reached more than 2.5 million, and the numbers are much higher than they were before the pandemic. Mel Stride, the Work and Pension Secretary, says that some everyday worries are now being treated as mental health problems. So when I spoke to him a few minutes ago, I asked him what his solution was.
I think we need to have a grown-up conversation about that. We've seen a very high increase in the number of people presenting with mental health issues, and I think there is a concern that in some cases it may be the case that we're too readily labelling those conditions as serious mental health conditions, when in fact they may be effectively the kind of ups and downs of life that is part of the human condition. We all have challenges in our lives and so on. Now, none of that is a step away from the fact that we totally recognise there are people that have very significant mental health challenges, and that's why we have invested so heavily in mental health, 2.3 billion from next year onwards, extra on mental health on top of the over 4 billion that the Chancellor announced in the past. But I think it's right, Nick, that work, and all the evidence shows this, work being right at the centre of people's lives is something that is really good for mental health, good for individuals, good for the communities, and of course also good for the economy.
Does that mean taking benefits away from some, not all, of those with mild depression or anxiety who are currently categorised as being incapable of work?
With PIPs specifically, what we need to look at is this benefit and how it's functioned. It hasn't actually been reassessed for over a decade. And what I want to see is firstly a sustainable welfare system, so one that is affordable for the taxpayer. But I also want to see that it's fit for purpose. And what that means is targeting that benefit on those that need the help the most. I'm particularly concerned, for example, about those that have lifelong progressive conditions where sadly they're not going to be getting better through time. And I question whether we need to keep reassessing those people, putting them through these bureaucratic hoops and sometimes causing them anxiety, or whether there's a simpler way of looking after those people.
But let's be clear what that means, though. You say grown-up conversation, you say affordable, sustainable, targeted. What that means is some people who get it now won't get it in the future. You want to cut the bill for benefits by cutting the number of people getting personal independence payments.
I want the best outcomes across the piece. So what I was going to go on to say...
What's the difference between that and my question, which is people getting it?
I was going to come on to this very point. It's a really important point. There are different ways that different countries do this around the world, and we've got a lot that we're looking at and we're learning from different countries and the way they do it. And one issue that I think is important here is, should we be giving cash benefit payments, or should we be giving support that is better for that individual in the longer term? And you mentioned mental health and lower level mental health conditions. There's plenty of evidence that things like, for example, talking therapies within the NHS, where the Chancellor announced 400,000 more of those, that, particularly when it's combined with work, actually, can really work wonders when it comes for people's mental health.
Wouldn't it be grown up to say, look, a part of the problem is the fact that there is a massive queue inside the NHS to see anybody about your mental health condition at all. There are 1.9 million people on the waiting list. So the problem may not be that there are too many people on benefits. The problem may be the Conservatives have run a health service that can't support the people who need support.
Well, we have a 12-week consultation. There are questions within the consultation very much about how do we provide this additional support.
You can't provide it if you haven't got the doctors and nurses to treat the people who are waiting on a huge waiting list.
Well, actually, you say that, but we are already standing up this autumn additional support for people as part of something called Work Well, which brings together healthcare support alongside work coaches.
Forgive me, who does the assessments of all this? What you're essentially saying is that we need to make sure that the people who need help get it and those who don't get cash, which the country can't afford. But your own former health minister, a man called Dan Pulte, you'll know him, I think he was a Conservative MP until 2 days ago, he's now in the Labour Party, points out that 250,000 people now wait more than a month for mental health treatment. If they can't get care, they can't get treatment, you're not going to be able to make this assessment.
Well, those backlogs are coming down, and you'll know, Nick, the backlogs have decreased by 200,000 since September of last year. But look, I come back to the point that this is a consultation. It's going to take 3 months. We need to ask these questions about exactly how this model is going to work. I have a very open mind about it.
You're on the eve of an election. This is a welfare state that the Conservatives designed. Personal independence payments were designed by the Conservative government. Universal credit was designed by the Conservative government. And you want to have a row about welfare scroungers with the Labour Party on the eve of a general election. So you're putting out ideas now that will give you that ammunition later and say, ha, they don't really support this.
Well, the first thing is, this is certainly not about welfare scroungers, as you put it. This is about, is PIP a benefit that is fit for purpose? We need to have a conversation about that. But as to whether this has just suddenly come out of the blue because we want to get a dividing line with Labour, I'd make 2 points. One is that since I became Secretary of State 18 months ago, we have brought in a huge level of fundamental welfare reform. For example, to the work capability assessments, which the OBR says will mean 400,000 fewer people going onto those long-term sickness and disability benefits going forward, getting the opportunity to get into work. We brought in universal support, all sorts of things. This is part of an ongoing reform agenda. As to Labour, Labour have nothing to say about welfare. In fact, the only thing they've been saying about welfare is that they're very squeamish about sanctions. They don't think they should be applied in the way that we think, which we believe will cost billions of pounds.
We're going to be talking to them at R4Today. Labour has accused the Conservatives of attempting to make mental health, quotes, another front in the culture wars. And the party is today highlighting its promise to recruit more mental health staff to the NHS, as well as to offer specialist support in schools and in the community too. We're joined by Ellie Reeves, who's Labour's Deputy National Campaign Coordinator. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Can I just begin with that interesting claim? What do you mean the Conservatives are using mental health to fight the culture wars?
Well, they haven't got a solution to any of the issues around mental ill health. So, it's very easy to make sweeping statements, but actually, unless you can provide solutions, it's not particularly helpful. So Labour have set out a plan to help to prevent mental ill health before people reach crisis point. And in turn, that will help people, enable them to take work and live independent and fulfilling lives. So, we have this rhetoric from the government, but without any of the solutions.
Do you think that they are trying to imply that people who have anxiety or what was referred to as mild depression are somehow work shy? Is that what you mean by them fighting a culture war?
Well, I don't think that their characterisation is particularly helpful. I know from speaking to constituents that many of them wait huge amounts of times to get mental health support. We've young people languishing on waiting lists for months, if not years, without being able to get the help that they need, which is why we have set out a plan to tackle ill health with those mental health specialists in every single school to help young people and avoid mental health problems later on in life that might hold them back in terms of work and other opportunities.
Won't you face the same problem as the government, though, which is retaining staff? In the last few years, the mental health workforce has increased by about a fifth. But the problem this government faces, and if you form government, surely you will face as well, is that more and more of those people leave because they don't like the job, they find it too stressful, they think the pay is too bad.
But this government's got no plan and no funding behind any of this. We've said that we'll put in place 8,500 mental health workers in the NHS, and that will be paid for by closing the private equity tax loophole. We've said that we'll pay for the mental health specialists in school by closing tax loopholes for private schools. Those are the choices that a Labour government would make so that we can put the money into preventing mental ill health in the first place. At the moment,
but if the benefit bill is soaring, then you might not be able to find that money. So what we've seen is that the expenditure on the main disability benefit, PIP as it's called, specifically on people with, quote, mixed anxiety and depressive orders, cost £7.5 million back 10 years ago. It now costs 1.6 billion. Isn't the reality that if you're in government, you will have to get this welfare benefit down? You will have to say to some people who are on penny payments, I'm sorry, you can't have it anymore.
There are too many people not in work, and people who can work should work. But it's important.
What's the answer
that
to the
people,
question then? That you will have to get people off that benefit?
So there are a number of things that could happen. So, for example, putting a duty on job centres to break down barriers to good employment. At the moment, there's no duty to collaborate with other services, for example, the NHS. So if you put a duty on the job centres to work with the NHS, to actively helping people getting the mental health support that they need, then that's a way of breaking down barriers to work. But one of the things about PIP at the moment is that if you take on a job, if you try work, then you risk losing your PIP and having to go through another lengthy assessment if the job doesn't work out. And that discourages people from taking work. So what we have said is that people should be able to take work without risking losing their entitlement to PIP. So encouraging people to take that plunge into work.
OK. Ellie Reeves, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.